you have got what is a functional organization and what is a projectized organization? Are you clear about that, Rajesh?
Yeah, that's right. Yes.
Okay. So, weak matrix, balanced matrix, and strong matrix are nothing but the blended organizations of functional and projectized. So, where the influence or the mainly it is a functional organization, but there is an influence of projectized. Like in pharmaceutical companies, which are normally functional, because they completely focus on building the technology and coming out with the new drugs, etc. Some of the work is happening which requires contribution from the different functions, different department, you can say. Okay, such projects, such things are called projects, and because it's a functional organization basically, so there is no project manager which is assigned. One of the functional manager who has more stake in the project normally assume a role of project coordinator, and then he coordinate all the activities related to this project. When such things happen, or in an organization which such projects are become little common, then we call them as weak matrix, because their basic function is function. But there are some projects which keep going on. On the other side, if the company is mainly projectized, means their livelihood is on projects. For example, IT companies. For example, there are construction companies. But there are support function, which work as a function, like there is an administrative function. Okay, there is a HR function. So these are the functions which maybe in all the organization, but if you get into little deeper into that, some more functions come into this. Like in IT companies, some Java or some UI related separate departments come up. Then actually it is moving towards the functional thing, because these are the departments which actually focus on technology or a specific thing, while the project is not very specific thing, but it is mainly catering the needs of the customer, and they are mainly involving cross-functional team. While in the functional organization, the teams are normally from the one function only, one department only. So when a functional flavor start coming up in a project or the organization, then we call them as a strong matrix. So, and balanced matrix is something which is like having equal kind of things, but normally balanced matrix are also like tilted towards projectized. If you see, the project manager's role is full time here, so it is more inclined towards project than actually functional, but their influence is almost equal. What they are saying here is, in a balanced matrix organization or in a strong matrix, how things happen. Like in a functional organization, project manager has little authority, while in the projectized organization, project manager has complete authority.
Okay. So if we talk about an organization where you have project business units, like PDU units assigned to a particular function, like we can call that as a functional rather than projectized. For example, in automobile industry, if you talk about electronic communication or BCM, body control module, that could have one vertical, right, where it will have its own projects under that particular vertical.
That's true. So in like in the manufacturing company, there are normally many functions. So there are normally hybrid or say strong matrix or balanced matrix kind of organization. because
Okay.
when you develop a car or develop a piece, it requires the teams from the different functions. But when
Right.
the work is over, they go to their own department.
That's right.
So what is explained on this slide is basically the characteristic of such organization.
Okay. Yeah, I can get it. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
So this is regarding the quiz which you have shared with us. Is it we are supposed to try them only after this session? That's the third day.
Say it again.
The quizzes which you shared with us are supposed to attend only after this session. I mean today.
Yeah.
Okay. And I see that you got only one chance. So if we probably answered a couple of questions wrong, we may not have an option to try it once again?
No.
Okay. Thanks.
It is intentionally kept like that. Because we do not want you to spend too much time in attempting again and again. That's not the time right now. Right now is the time to learn.
Okay.
Okay, so you, what I suggest you, before you attempt the questions, you go through the slides, attempt questions. So therefore we have not kept any timeline. You have to complete this in 1 hour or so. You can take as much time as you want.
Okay.
Okay, to cover 35 hours of training, we have allocated 1 hour for that. Like in 30 questions, you may be taking about 35 minutes to complete. Then you will review your answers. Then you will see that where the problems were, where I was doubtful, what answers are not correct. You go through the explanations, and then you note down some of the learnings or some of the doubts which you will bring up in the next session, and then we discuss about them. That's the agenda.
Okay. Wait, I got it. Thanks.
Or that's the strategy. So we do not want you to go again and attempt again.
Yeah. Excellent.
People have tendency to do so. That's why we have blocked that. Okay. There was a suggestion, let me put it to you, that because of the DST, daylight time, saving time, the time in UK and US has changed. It is now 1 hour later. So earlier, I think in New York it was starting at 8:30, starting at 9:30 now. And in UK it was 1:30, it may be now 2:30. So the suggestion here is that can we start this program 1 hour early?
Hi Vivek, I'm sorry, the times are still the same, Vivek. It is 1:30 here.
It is 1:30 there?
Yeah, half one. I think it is from the 30th of March, the timings are changing.
Okay, so in UK maybe it is the end of March which is changing. In US I think it is changing in the beginning of March.
Yeah, might be.
Yeah, we got to change today.
Sorry?
We got it changed from today.
Right. So it's the beginning of March. I think in UK it may be end of March.
Yeah.
So it's a suggestion. If people are comfortable, they see that it is manageable. I especially little worrisome about the people in India, or because they may travel during that time.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, Vivek, it will be very difficult for me to join early because I am taking this from home.
Right. So I was little skeptical. I was knowing that because people travel that time. may be difficult
Yes.
because people have to reach home before 6 o'clock, which may be little challenging.
Yes, exactly.
Or otherwise you stay till 8 o'clock in the office, which may be quite late.
Very late, Vivek.
I think people in US, they have to, especially I think in the New York, that is a problem, because they now it was completing at 10:30, now it is completing at 11:30. But the place is still, I think it is completing before 10:30 or 9:30, I think.
As far as I'm concerned, I'm okay. I'm not sure of other.
Yeah, I think it is okay for you actually. In fact, suggestion is for you.
So I don't mind.
Suggestion is specially made for the New Yorkers actually. I don't know if
I will admit I was the one who requested this, that I was thinking we would, during the weekend, it would be easier to be released an hour early and enjoy the weekend.
Right.
And during business day too, it's better to be done an hour early and go back to what you are doing for the work. But it's okay too. I mean, did we have somebody from Bothell, Washington? I mean, it would be way early in the morning for them. In that case, I would say, no, we shouldn't. I would feel bad because starting 6:30 versus 5:30, it's difficult to getting out of sleep and then understand the material. So I would say we shouldn't. I didn't realize. We have the West Coast here as well with the 3-hour time difference.
Yeah. The West Coast, we have the one person from West Coast as well.
Yeah, that might be very difficult for them. I'm not sure who's that person, but
I think Deepak is from there, but he has not joined as of now.
was he in? What's his name?
Is it Deepak actually? Deepak Kumar.
Oh, he said he's in Boston area,
Right. So Boston is not in.
which is East Coast as well. Actually, Boston is like 3 hours east of us, but still same time zone. But when you mentioned the timing yesterday, you mentioned Bothell, Washington. Maybe he's there now.
1 minute. 1 minute. Let me tell you the city actually. Where he was from. He is from actually. So here is where we left yesterday. If there is any confusion with respect to whatever we have covered with respect to PMP exam, please let me know, and otherwise I will just move on with the tips. Okay, so needless to say that the exam is on PMBOK. So a study is required for PMBOK 5th edition because the exam is now on 5th edition. We should understand what the concepts which are mentioned in PMBOK and also referred. Sometimes they are not explained in, but they are referred. We say only real life experience is not sufficient. So understanding PMBOK as well as the real life experience. Both are required. Why is it so? Because real life experience could be different what is mentioned in PMBOK. So if you give an answer from your own perspective, from the real life experience, you may be incorrect. So what we say that, okay, you must have real life experience because most of the questions are situational, and because of the situational, the experience come into picture to understand those questions. So like your experience helps in understanding situations, while PMIism, which is the understanding from the PMI perspective, will help you answer the question. We also suggest you practice sample questions before you go for the exam, and that's why we kept that side to attempt the questions. But do not bog down with this. Do not try to do like doing lot of questions and questions and questions. That's not a good idea. What will help you that you attempt questions maybe in one batch, maybe 30, 50 on a subject. Then see that what are the questions you attempted incorrectly and where you were doubtful, even if you were right. And then analyze those things and try to understand what are the concepts which are still not clear, which are playing a role in answering incorrectly, or you have doubts. This continuous process of attempting, understanding where I have gone wrong, where I was doubtful, and then learning on that will help you a lot. Answering too many questions will not help. Now you need to memorize some stuff, input, output, tools and techniques, and some formulas. But in all the formulas which are used in PMBOK are fairly simple. If you are not able to remember them, the reason could be you have not practiced enough. Otherwise, if you have practiced reasonably, you can easily memorize them, or you need not to memorize, they will get memorized automatically. But in some cases, input, output and tools and techniques, sometimes they are not so obvious. You need to remember them. But many of them you will anyway memorize when you are practicing. There is no penalty for guessing, because if you may mark them incorrect, there is no negative marking. So answer all the questions. I will also give you some tips that if you don't know, you have to guess. Then to improve your guess also, you follow some rules. Your guess would be probably better. Now look at this. The questions sometimes are very wordy. They have a lot of information, they have a lot of data. Not everything would be required. Some will be required, in some cases nothing would be required. The last sentence normally is important. So try to understand the last sentence, but read the whole question, because you never know that the data is required or not. But driving factor is the last statement. And if you come out with the answer without using the complete data, you should not be doubtful. You see that it is quite possible. In the questions, normally the questions are situational, and what normally the challenge with the people is that at least two answers are there which are very close to each other, or they appear right. So you look into this, that there are some statements which are globally right, which are normally true, but may not be relevant in the context in which the question is asked. So not true statements are the right answers of the questions. Moreover, if there are universal truth, or there are generically, like it is always, never, must, completely, such words are there in the answer, probably they are incorrect. Because questions are normally specific, and a specific question cannot be answered with the generic words. These are the tips to guess better actually. Answer always from the PMI perspective. This is important. Even if it is contradictory with your experience, you forget your experience and remember PMI. Now when the questions are situational, when the multiple answers looks very close to each other or right, you may see that most, best, first, such words could be critical. So in a question there are 4 answers, maybe 3 are right, but only one you can do first, and that would be the right answer if first is used. Best means what is out of this, what is the best choice? Normally the best is one. There are multiple options, but their best would be only one. Now what is PMIism? We are talking about things from the PMI perspective. So there are some ground rules which is assumed by PMI, irrespective of you have those things in your project or not, you have in your experience or not. For example, project charter is a must to start a project. In practice, I have seen project charter is rare to start a project. Project managers have all kinds of soft and hard skills. Okay, probably not in practice. Project manager is authorized by a charter and he has all authority to take action in the interest of project. His authority could be limited in practice, but you assume that project manager is authorized to do anything on the project. Similarly, the project manager is proactive. He doesn't wait for things to happen. He take action beforehand, before the things happen. And in fact, this is supposed to happen. This may not be happening as such. Lesson learned and the historical database is available from all the projects. In many organizations it may not be, but PMI understand they are available. Assuming this only, the question is narrated. So don't look at the question, don't think that in sometimes it may not be available. No, it will be available, assume that. PMI does not approve the construction of extra feature. That means you only deliver what is there in the scope or what is signed off with the customer. If you try to deliver some extra feature beyond the scope of the project, it will be termed as gold plating. What suggestion here is, if you find a feature which is useful on the project, you please propose it to the customer. If customer approves it, you include this into the scope and then do it, otherwise reject it. The work breakdown structure is a wonderful tool. In fact, it is, because it is the most important thing for the planning. Roles and responsibility assignment metrics are defined in all the projects. Now, working overtime is the last resort. All options must be tried out before. Now, in practice, it is the other way around. Okay, performance criteria is determined in advance and EVM is implemented. Not all projects follow this, because you consider them that it is happening. All changes must go through change management process. Impact of the scope, time, cost, quality, risk, all should be assessed and informed to the stakeholders, and all the changes must go through change management process. Project manager should obtain the formal approval from the client, acceptance from the client. All stakeholders must be identified, and it is assumed that you have identified. Lessons are documented during closure, and project management evaluate the effectiveness of the corrective actions. That is the corrective measure which you are taking in monitoring and control. Project manager keep evaluating the effectiveness of these actions. Okay, let me take you through when you pass PMP certification, how you can earn PDUs to sustain your certification. Okay, you need to earn 60 PDUs in 3 years. So cycle is 3 years. Within 3 years, you need to earn 60 PDUs. There are 6 categories in which you can earn PDUs. Okay, I'm not going category wise 1 A, B, C, D like that, but I will go with that which are like easy and you can earn a lot of PDUs in that. Now, if you want to go through in which categories you can earn PDUs, there is a continuous certification guide. You can look at that guide. Or everything is mentioned there. Okay, so 15 PDUs in 3 years you get naturally just by doing your work in an organization or in your organization. So if you are employed, you're doing project management work in your organization, you earn 5 PDUs per year. So in 3 years, 15 PDUs. So you need to worry only about 45 PDUs. Now category A.
So Vivek, in order to claim that.
Yeah,
sorry. In order to earn that 15 PDUs from the employment, so your management gives you some sort of letter and you present that to PMI, or how do you document that?
Normally PMI is not expecting any kind of certification from your employer, but they sometimes if they audit, they need somebody to vouch for you. Somebody should be able to say that yes, you were working there. Your manager is the ideal person. Your peers could be there. And if you have your own organization, you have to prove that, okay, you are running your organization and doing the project management work.
So when you are entering in PMI site, you basically automatically calculate extra 15 PDUs towards that.
Yeah,
and if you are audited, then you present it.
You need to claim them. You need to go and enter there that, okay, you are working with this company, this is the address, this is all the details are there, and you claim 5 PDUs per year. They will not get added automatically to your credit. You have to claim them. Okay. In category A and B, this is a continuous education. Means you attend some learning programs. This workshop could be one. You can attend some webinars. You can go into attend project management conferences, attend a training program on project management. you attend some chapter meeting. All these are part of category A and B. Category A is meant for only REPs and chapters. So if chapter and REPs are conducting some program and you are attending it, you will file them under category A. Otherwise, it will be category B. There is no limit to category A and B both. Okay, every 1 hour of investment is equal to 1 PDU. Okay. So when a chapter or REPs are giving some education, they will give you an event ID. But if there are other people like we in universities, in your own organization, if they are doing, they will not give you anything, but you have to record that what is the program, when it was conducted, if PMI inquire, you have an attendance there or not. Some kind of ground like footstep should be there, which can be used to produce to the PMI at some point of time if they ask for it. Okay, so then you can go and claim it. Normally when you're claiming it, no need to, you don't give any kind of evidence. Evidence is only required when inquiries come, when an audit has to happen. So suppose we do a webinar, we normally send a mail stating, confirming that you attended this webinar for 1.5 hours and from this, on this date, conducted by this. And normally we also give the recording of that, so you can keep a link to the recording. So these records should be sufficient enough for you to produce to PMI if they ask for produce some evidence. Okay, there is another category called category C. This is very simple. You need to self-study. So self-directed study, which is category C, in which you can log your PDUs. Now here the limit is there for 30 PDUs. So under category C you can earn only 30 PDUs maximum. But 30 PDUs is also a very good number. What you need to do? You study any book, you study any paper, you study, you watch any recorded webinar anywhere. What you need to do? You have to document your learning. That okay, you read this book, or you watched this program. Some e-learning programs are there, so you say okay, this is the program. If you have a URL, keep the URL with you. Document what you learned from that, and similar things. So I have created a self-directed learning log. I will give you that log. So you can use that log to document your self-study. And you can report your PDUs in that. So 30 PDUs can be earned without any dependence on anyone. You can give a volunteer service to PMI chapters, PMI, I say that is specific interest group, SIG. If you are volunteering, normally if there is a PMI volunteerism and then volunteering to PMI or PMI chapters, normally they will tell you that how many PDUs are there for this activity. So you can log those many PDUs for that activity. I keep volunteering. So 2 things I did it. So I did this like volunteering for translating PMBOK edition into Hindi. I got 20 PDUs for that. Now, because I keep doing some voluntary work, I remain involved in various things. I really never bother about PDUs. In fact, I do not report several PDUs because my count is already over. Now, what happens? The another thing is that in a third year, if you earn more PDUs, so your 60 PDUs are done. And in third year, you earn 10 more PDUs. They will carry forward. So in the next cycle, you need to earn only 50 PDUs. So up to 20 PDUs you can carry forward. But those 20 PDUs should be earned only in the third year, not before that. So the PDUs earned in the third year, and if they go beyond 60, they will be carry forwarded for the next cycle. You can share your knowledge. Maybe you can become a speaker on some seminar. You can be a panel member on some discussion. You can present a webinar. You can go in the chapter meetings and present some subject. So you earn for 1 PDUs for every hour invested. So suppose you gave a 2-hour speech on one of the function or one of the event. So 2 hours two PDUs you will get for delivering, and suppose you 5 hours you spent in preparing it. So you can tell that, okay, that 5 hours it took me to prepare this presentation or prepare for this event. So 5 more PDUs for that. Now nobody can verify. You have to you honestly tell that, okay, how many hours, and you can claim PDUs for that. But there should be a rationale between what you deliver and how many hours you have put into that. There should be some rationale in that. So anyone of you are fond of writing blogs, you can write blogs for us. You can write a blog for pmwares. We can send you a mail that, okay, you have presented this, you have like published this blog on pmwares blog, and you can say that, okay, how many hours you have spent on doing that, and you claim PDUs. Or other blog site also, not only pmwares. So this contains everything. So it is, there are many places where you can earn PDUs. If you are little active in project management, that's what PMI wants, you to be active, and therefore this requirement of 60 PDUs is kept. It's not a good idea that you at the end of the year you go and earn some 60 or 30 PDUs. You can do that, but that will not keep you active in the project management area, and the learning will be less. You will still manage than 60 PDUs, but that's not a very good way of doing it. If you are little involved in some activities around you, even in your organization, you can do that. You need not to spend any money for earning PDUs. Any question?
Vivek, in case if you fail to earn 60 PDUs, what is the what is the next step? Are we going to lose our PMI certification, PMP certification that you have cleared?
You will be suspended. Your designation will be suspended for 1 year. You have an opportunity to earn PDUs in this 1 year. Your PMP status will be restored. But if you lose that after even you don't earn even that, then you will lose this PMP status. Can all these be earned in 1 year, or they have to be spent across 3 years? No. Anytime you can earn. You can earn in last 15 days also. Many people do that. Okay, so let's move to integration management, which is the first knowledge area. And basically it is an umbrella of all the processes. What is an integration management means? Basically, when you start a project, you start from integration management, that is tailoring the process for the project is one of the important thing in the integration management, because that tailoring will apply to whole project. What is the meaning of this is unification, consolidation, articulation. So you keep in unification, that is as we said, that all the knowledge areas. So management plan of all the knowledge areas should be consolidated in one place, and that is where the integration management come into picture. The trade-off in objective and alternatives, that's you do when you start a project and get into like preparing a project management plan, manage all the stakeholders' expectations, manage interdependency among the other knowledge areas. That is it's a consolidation of all the knowledge areas. What is the most important part of this is that you should ensure that all the pieces of the project, they come together when they are required, means at the right time. So you ensure that the projects is going in progressing as per the plan, and things are being produced and being delivered when they are required. Not too early, not too late. And the whole project should function as a integrated unit. That is the main intention of integration management. If you see, we have 6 processes: the project charter, developing project charter, developing project management plan, executing the project management plan, monitoring and controlling, and performing integrated change control, and then closing the project. So project initiated from the integration and closes in the integration. All the other processes happen within that. So what is developing a project charter? What is a charter? Charter is a starting point of the project. The project manager get authorized to apply organizational resources on the project. Project charter contains the business case, the reason for the project, what are the objectives, the strategy, and it often link organization strategy with the project. Project is taken normally in a strategic way. So there is a strategy of the organization under which this project is being undertaken. And project charter contains the objective of the customer, of the organization, and therefore how that strategy is linked to this project, that comes from project charter. It is normally created by a senior person, normally a sponsor who is actually providing funds for the project. It could be a unit head, it could be the CEO of the organization, or anyone. But should be senior enough to be having control on the resources of the project. Organization strategies, Ashwini, and organization policies are different actually. Policies may apply, normally they are constant and they changes infrequently and they apply to everyone, while the project organization strategy is a management plan giving the direction to the organization. Policies are living things, while the strategy is a direction. So they're not same, they're very different as such. So strategy will tell that, okay, in this year, we are going to take or increase our share in finance sector by 5%. And for that, they list out several actions they're going to take in this year. This is a strategy. Well, the policy is that the office will open at 9 o'clock and close at 6 o'clock. This is a policy. Every person will get 20 days of leave in a year. That's the policy. If any project will come, then it will be approved in this manner. That's the policy. So that policies are very different. They're living things. Okay. So in the project charter, the main input is the project statement of the work. That is, which is the signed, which is coming from the signed contract or the agreement with the customer, or the scope which is signed off with the customer. So customer normally issue a project statement of work, which is a description of the work to be done in the project. Business case is the reason behind the project. And main tools and techniques are used here is an expert. Expert judgment comes a lot almost in many tools and techniques. You will find that the expert judgment is mentioned. Expert judgment is nothing but an expert who knows how to do this process. Like in case of project charter, this person has experience and knowledge to prepare a project charter. Okay, and then we have project charter. So what is a business case? Business case is the basic need of the project. Why this project is being executed. It could be a market demand. It could be a change in the policies. Because of that, it becomes a legal requirements. There could be some policy related to the environment. Or customer has some different challenges. Maybe a competitor has come out with a product. Your customer will also want to come out with a product, similar product. So there could be various reasons for starting a project, but understanding those reasons are important because it justifies the investment in the project. And basically we say that whatever you deliver, if business case is not satisfied, your project is failed. The customer will not use the deliverables. So if you build up a project, you have delivered everything, but that delivered part is not catering to the business case or partially catering to the business case, your project may not be a success. So understanding business case is very important. As I said, expert judgment could be any person, any external consultant, internal person, anybody who is expert, who can be onboarded on the project or who can be consulted and can do this work because it comes in multiple processes, is the expert of that process. So in this case is a project charter. Now there are another tools and technique which is mentioned here is the facilitation technique. Little to talk about them. You just remember that brainstorming, conflict resolution, problem solving, meeting managements are all called facilitation techniques. Many times a question can come on PMP exam that which one of the following is a facilitation technique, and it becomes very difficult. The brainstorming is a facilitation technique or a group decision technique or a or some other thing. So you need to memorize such stuff. What is conflict resolution? What is problem solving? we will probably discuss in the human resource management. So what is a project? You come out with a project charter, and what is this project charter? It will tell you the purpose of the project, main objectives of the projects, the success criteria, justifications. Justification is actually a business case, very high level requirements, that what requirements this project has to fulfill, and very high level, maybe a bulleted points, just very high level description of the project. If some risks are identified, then those risks are mentioned. A milestone schedule is mentioned in that. What is things are expected at what time, important deliverables, how much budget is allocated to the project, how much allocation is there in which the project has to be executed. A project manager is assigned through the project charter. His authority level is mentioned in that. It is normally prepared by a senior manager, but there is a fair possibility that project manager is identified. Project manager himself prepared the project charter, but get the approval from a senior person. Right? I just show you a simple sample of the project charter. You just look at this. This is one sample, right? This is not the only way to write project charter. Okay, so it is project description, project manager's name, business case, why it is, the scope of the project, high level scope of the project, high level deliverables, milestone plan, the stakeholders are known there at that time, requirements, high level requirements, project risk, or other things also. It's not a very hard and fast template. You have to, if whatever is known and can help project in execution and planning, I think we should mention it. But it should be very crisp, clear, very small. Ideally 1 page, maximum to 2 pages. If you are going beyond 2 pages, I think you are maybe writing too much in project charter. Now, once the project charter is available, project charter normally guide the project planning. So then the next thing will come is preparing a project management plan. The project management plan is a consolidated plan which contains the subsidiary plan of all the other processes like scope management plan, time management plan, cost management plan, risk management plan, procurement management plan, communication management plan, stakeholder management plan. All management plans are consolidated in one plan called project management plan. It also talks about that how the project will be executed, will be monitored, what are the tools and techniques will be applied, whatever the tools and techniques are you going to use on this project, you will mention in the project management plan. Now, the last thing is called the progressively elaborated. Is basically it is talking about that in the beginning, very little known about the project. But as we move into the project, the story unfolds. So it is called progressive elaborated. As you move into the project, the more you know about the project. So that is also help in planning. Means accordingly you should plan. There is a terminology called rolling wave planning, and the rolling wave planning, we define a window of some duration, let's say 1 month. So what we do today, and if we have window is 1 month, then the next 1 month whatever is coming as per the high level plan, we detail it out. That means we plan in detail in near term, and at higher level infraterm. So any work which is we need to be planned after 1 month is remain at a higher level. After 15 days, we move the window to another 15 days, and then whatever comes into that window, we again plan it in a more detailed manner. Maybe for a 1-year project, you do it for a couple of months, and after that you may be having the complete project plan. But project will always be progressively elaborated, so you need to continuously revisit your plan and can improve it. What is the question here? Does project charter defines the resources allocated to the project? Not RECI chart, it doesn't define. It is a part of the human resource management. But yes, if some resources are already committed to this project, then it may be defined in the project charter. Because those people could be critical, those resources could be critical for the project. In that case, it would be mentioned. Yeah, rolling wave planning is a tool. Progressive elaboration is a concept. So in a progressive elaboration concept, we implement the progressively elaboration using the rolling wave planning. So in the project management plan, you see the input, mainly input project charter, because that's the only thing which we have done. Then output from the planning process. So all the planning processes like scope management plan, time management plan, risk management plan, all those plans come here. So this is called output of the all other planning processes. Then again the expert judgment, who is the experienced project manager or knowledgeable project manager or expert project manager comes here and prepare a project management plan. Same facilitation technique. Facilitation techniques are nothing but how to work, how to facilitate various decisions, various discussions, etc. I have already explained what is enterprise environmental factor and organization process as such. Their details may change as the context changes. So the details may be different in different processes. So what is a project management plan? It's a consolidated integrated plan. It's which contains all the subsidiary plan. It defines the life cycle of the project. It describes all the tools and techniques which you're going to use on the project. So suppose for requirement analysis you want to use Delphi techniques. So you should mention in the project management plan that for requirement analysis we will use this tool. Okay, for as a enterprise project management tool, you want to use some suppose a Microsoft project you want to use it. So you mentioned that Microsoft project will be used as a enterprise project management tool. So those all tools and techniques, whatever you're going to apply, you need to mention the project management plan. Unless you mention in the project management plan, you should not use them. The project management plan, besides all these subsidiary areas, it also contains change management plan, that how change will be entertained or will be processed. Another thing is configuration management plan, which is tightly coupled with change management plan. The configuration management plan talk about that what are the artifacts in the project, how they will be stored in the project, how they will be accessed, how they will be modified, who have the access to these artifacts, which artifacts. So A person has access to A, B, C artifacts, B person has X, Y, Z access to XYZ artifacts, like that. So configuration management plan is a plan which talks about a directory structure. It talks about how all the artifacts of the project will be stored, how they will be accessed, how they will be changed, all the process of changing the artifacts on the project. Normally tools which are used for this purpose are VSS, the virtual source safe, CVS, PVCS. There are many tools, Subversion, there are many tools in the market actually. Project management plan also defines the baseline and the performance measurement for the baseline. The change management ensures that integrity of the baseline is to be maintained. Okay. Now once you have the charter which is providing direction to the project, the second you have prepared a project management plan, now it is the time to execute it. So we are looking at the complete life cycle of the project. So what is we are doing in direct and manage project execution, that is during the project execution. We are mainly managing the project team. Project team is creating the project deliverables as defined in this scope, as per your time management plan or as per your schedule. So during execution, your deliverables will be produced. For the project manager is to manage the team, motivate team, give them trainings, give them feedback. During the execution, one of the important things which I think Rajesh mentioned, that collecting the work performance data. If you have the data, it becomes extremely easy to convince the client or convince the stakeholder, basically not only client, everyone. So it becomes, many places it is not taken so seriously, and so you never know how project is doing, and if the data is not collected, it is very difficult to improve the execution of the next project or the other projects in the organization. You establish and manage the communications with the stakeholders, understand what are the expectations of the stakeholders, set the expectation of the stakeholder also, and then manage them. Continuously looking at the risk, looking at the risk triggers, and if you find a risk trigger, you implement the risk response plan. If there is a procurement, you procure the items from the vendors or the services from the vendor. Okay, so there are two things to input in this project management plan, because that is what you execute. And the second thing which come into this is the approved change request. So if a change has gone through change management process and is approved, and as soon as it is approved, it is feedback into the execution, direct and manage project execution, and here is to implement it. Okay, the output you will get deliverables, that is what your team is producing. The work performance data, that is you are collecting that how people are performing, which you can compare with your plan in the monitoring and control process. And often during execution you may find there's something more is required, or some changes are required in the project. So you issue a change request. So change request is a normal output of all the execution, monitoring and control processes. So all the execution processes and monitoring and control processes normally have change request as an output. Because if there is a deviation, you have to issue a change request. During the execution, if you find something different to be done, then you issue a change request. So approved change request could be any like preventive measure, could be corrective measure, or a defect repair. In general understanding, defect repair is not considered as a change request. So please remember that as per PMI, any change in the existing plan, even the defect repair, is also a change request. So if you find a defect in your in your testing, you issue a change request as per PMI, which is normally not understood in the project. Now, common understanding is that defect repair is not a change. What customer is talking about out of the scope, or we are suggesting something out of the scope, is only change request. But here is all preventive measure, all corrective measure, and defect repairs, all are change request. And then change not necessarily in the scope. It could be change, could be in the policies, could be in management plan, could be in procedures, could be timeline, cost, budget, scope. Any change related to the project is called a change request. So expert judgment is there. PIMS is a project management information system. Many organizations have, and many organizations normally use Excel sheet as a project management information system. But there is no specific thing. Even Excel sheet can work as a project management information system because it produces you outputs, it gives you some reports, you maintain data, and Excel sheet is fair enough. If you have an automated tool, you can use that. The change request could trigger a change in project management plan. Yes. Oh, I need not to explain you what are called meetings. Now, so as an output, you will get deliverables, the actual deliverables which will be delivered to the customer. Work performance data, that actual how things are done, when it was done, how much efforts are spent on this, when it was done, how much money we spent on that. All these things are actually data, but data is normally a raw data, unprocessed, as actual. So whatever is done, just collect this. This is called project performance data. Okay, another question is here. The PMIS, does it fall under enterprise environmental factor or organization processes? And enterprise environmental factor. Process assets are normally documents.
Because you mentioned that each organization have their own project management information systems, and Excel could be a document that they could use. So in that case, does it fall under the organizational asset or the environmental factor?
These places could be little confusing as such. Excel sheet normally contains some kind of templates, even to record the how you're doing the project. So when it comes to as a PMIMS, actually it comes as a template to you, and because it comes as a template to you, it becomes an organization process as such.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, and so the next, when you are doing project execution, at the same time you also have to continuously monitor and control the project. And monitoring and controlling the project means comparing the data, performance data from the plant data, seeing that if there is any variance, and if you find a variance, act for the correction. So we take corrective measures. So that includes corrective or preventive actions as a part of controlling, measuring as a part of monitoring. Once the changes are approved, basically they become part of the scope, so need not to specify separately, but sometimes it could be confusing. That's why it is mentioned here also, that monitoring the implementation of this approved changes also. Now during this monitoring and control, we continuously see at the risk, that if the risk or new risk have been come into picture, some risk may be expired, and we see that their implementation of is happening or not, the risk response plan required changes or not. So monitoring control is not only this, but also looking at the scope side, also looking at the schedule time, scheduling, that how the changes are required in the timelines or not. If we are deviating from the scope, or whatever defined in the scope, are we doing as per that, or we are deviating from that? Are we communicating with the people on the with all the stakeholders? So naturally the project management plan is one of the input. The project performance information, which is a process data which is processed, which has making some meaning, that is also an input. Then schedule forecast, cost forecast, these things we will study more in cost management portion. At that time we will learn EVM, and in EVM schedule forecast and cost forecast both will come. But from understanding here, the schedule forecast and cost forecast are the forecasts that how, as of now, because of the variations, we have deviated from the plan. Now from here to the end of the project, what is the forecast on the time side or on the cost side? So EVM normally help us to forecast on the time on the cost side. And then the validated changes. So what are the validated changes? The changes which have gone through quality control, means they have been validated on the defect side, that there is no defect in that. Validated change means that it is verified for the defects. Okay, and the output is the change request work performance report, which is a formatted report basically. So you take this work performance information, filter it, format it, and make it presentable and present it to the stakeholders. Okay, so this ETC, SV, SPI, ETC, CV, CPI, all this we learn in EVM, on value management, in cost management chapter. So work performance information is nothing but the status of the deliverable, implementation status of the change request, and forecasted estimate. Okay, you use expert judgment, project management information system, meetings, and analytical techniques to compare actual versus planned, and then which will help you to take corrective measures. So some of the techniques which are used as analytical techniques are regression analysis, causal analysis, root cause analysis, unvalue analysis, variance analysis. There are some tools which are normally used in manufacturing, like failure mode and effect analysis, FMEA, fault tree analysis, reserve analysis. The various techniques in quality sectors especially are popular, and they are all called analytical skills because they help us to compare actual versus plan and let us know that how much is the variance, what corrective measure is actually appropriate for such kind of variance. Okay, so there's an output, as a standard output for all the monitoring and control processes. The change request is one of the output. The corrective measure, preventive measure, or defect repair, all are different categories of the change request. And then you get the work performance report, which is basically a status report or any kind of thing which is formatted, filtered, and suitable for delivered to the stakeholders. Okay, in the monitoring and control segment itself, another thing which is very important is the change control. Change control means any change occurs, either we suggest or customer suggest or any other stakeholder suggested. It should not be implemented until unless it has gone through change control process. So the first statement is important, that influence the factor that circumvent change control to implement only approved changes. So we have to ensure that it is no changes bypassing the change control process. Every small or large, any type of change must go through, even if it does not have any impact on time and cost. Basically, you actually come to know it has a impact on time and cost when you go through the integrated change control system, because you then analyze what is the impact of this project, of this change, and then you get an approval. So taking that change, doing an impact analysis, proposing it to the change control board. A change control board could be a team, could be one person. It may include the vendor organization only, or it may include vendor and customer organization both. It could be only customer organization. Means the stakeholder of the project should sit together and form a change control board. It could be a single person on the customer side also. So there is no definite suggestion on this side that what the change control board should be. It all based on the project to project and the stakeholders on the project, and mainly project manager and the sponsor. So change control process help us to maintain the integrity of the baseline. The baseline is what we initially agreed upon with the customer on the timeline, on the scope, on the cost. So any changes coming up, it should be formally introduced in that, and baseline should be updated. We should not do anything which violate the baseline. So first update the baseline and then execute it. One of the important thing for the project manager is a part of the change control process is to prevent unnecessary changes in the project. So when anybody suggests a project, the project manager's job is to qualify the change. If it is really required for this project, if it is really required, then take it ahead. Otherwise, he should resist and he should see that the change should not come if it is not required. So you should establish a process or method so that you can recognize, identify the changes and take them through the change control process and update the baseline. So the key activity in the change control process could be a configuration identification, that is identifying a configuration item in the configuration as per the configuration management plan. Doing a status accounting, that how it is it is maintained there and how the changes will be made in a specific artifact, And when we talk about configuration management also talk about to continuously auditing the configuration, that is the artifacts in the configuration, and verifying that we are not violating the configuration management plan. So you have a project management plan naturally, and project performance reports, change request, which is the output of the execution, monitoring and control, and actual output of the perform integrated change control process is the approved change request. So change could be approved or rejected. So if they reject, it will be dropped, but if it is approved, it will be in the output of the change control process, and it will go to the manage and control, execute the project execution as an input to implement it. You update the change log as well. Okay, so expert judgment, who is the person maybe expert in handling the changes. Meeting of change control board to decide if a project is, if a change is to be approved or reject, seeing the assessment and looking at that if this change is really required, or if the assessment or the impact on the time, cost, scope, whatever is reported to the change control board, seeing that if that change is right, or the impact on the project is acceptable, looking at the value that change is adding to the project. And all the decisions made by the change control board are documented and communicated to all the stakeholders. So as an output, you will get approved change request, which will go to the direct and managed project execution, and as an input and get implemented. And every time change occurs, you have to update the change log. Okay, there is a question. Sometimes change request could be a new requirement request. If accepted, how does the plan and cost affect? So the process is simple. Whatever change request is made, suppose customers come out with a change request saying that okay, additional feature is required in the project. That's what you're talking about. Now, what the project manager's job? First is qualify the change. If this feature is really required, challenge the customer, why do you need it? What value it will add to the project? And if he convinced, then go for the impact analysis. What impact it will have on the project, on the time, cost, or any other aspect. Document this assessment with the change and submit it to the change control board for approval. Now change control board will sit on it, will see the impact, will see the change and see the value the change is bringing, compare the impact and the value the change is bringing, and it is approved or disapproved. If it is rejected, it is dropped. If it is approved, then it will go to the project execution as an input and get implemented. So impact assessment is an important part to see. Yeah.
So change control board consists of participants like the customer and the key person in the organization, right? Who's going to take decision whether we're going to go ahead with this change request as a new requirement, and as per the report being submitted to a change request board. I mean, some time back we were talking about like, change request, board could contain a single person, and it could be part of the organization as well, or it could be just a customer. So how can change request board take the complete call on, accepting or rejecting this kind of a request?
If it cannot, then you include the customer also. So you create a change control board which has the authority to do that. Include those people who are authorized to approve and disapprove. If you do not have those people, then change control will be handicapped actually. So it will not be a change control board.
Members of change control board are not fixed, like, based on the situation, we can add in people and then get approvals from them. Right?
Then not fixed doesn't mean that you will not fix on the project. So I say there is no clear definition on that. You can include anyone. But in a project, you need to decide who will be part of the change control board. And once decided, those people will remain in the change control board. So it will not be varied in that time now in a project. Once in the initial planning time you have decided that okay, these are the people in the change control board, then it will remain for the project life cycle.
Okay.
So you will not change every time this change control board. Once it is so on different project, the constitution of the change control board could be different. Change control board, business side and technical side, key people, right? Many times it is just customer. Just customer's project manager, or some, you can say sponsor could be, can authorize the project, or sorry, change. And if they all approve the effect, then it should be okay. Yes. Then whatever the impact is there on the time and cost, you update the project baseline. So project baseline on time and cost and the scope will change. So there are additional things come into the scope. Because of that, the timeline changes, the timeline change. So baseline will update it with the new timeline. Definitely you have to spend more money, so the cost will get updated. So your baseline is basically get updated after this change. Even it is key sponsor customer request. Yes, whomsoever is giving the request has to go through the change control board or change control process. It does not matter who is giving the request. It is the project process that every change should go through change control process, then it should go through that, irrespective of who is requesting the change. Okay, so Zero, what exactly you are asking?
I was picking on the Rajesh's comment that even the change control request comes from the higher up customer side or company sponsor, it should be put on the table in front of the business side and the technical side people and analyze the effects of the change request. If everybody agrees to everything, although it adds financially and it adds to the baselines and timing, then it should be okay.
Right, absolutely.
That's what I was saying. Is this the right assumption?
Right, absolutely right. Basically, those people should be in change control board. Okay, and the last process in integrated change control, in the last process in the integration management is the closed project or the project phase, and that is normally the last process of the project also. And the idea is to that of the closed project is to archive the project data, transition the project deliverable to the new next phase, that is maybe operation or manufacturing or maintenance or support, ensuring that the project is really closed or exit criteria is met, documenting the lesson learned, and archiving along with the project. These are the main processes in the closed project or closed phase. See, this process applies to not only closing the project but also applies to closing all the phases. As we discussed yesterday, that even the phase is getting closed, like requirement phase is getting closed, we apply the same criteria there. That if the exit criteria is met, whatever is supposed to be delivered in requirement phase is delivered. Okay, so for the closing the project, you have the project management plan and accepted deliverables. So there are two things you have observed there. One is validated deliverable, second is accepted deliverable. So validated deliverables are the deliverable which have gone through quality control process, so they are verified for the defects, and accepted deliverable is the deliverable which is accepted by the client. So you have completed the deliverables, you have taken them to the customer and customer has accepted them. And as an output, it is the final product, service, result and transition. So the final output you hand over to the customer once the customer has accepted all the deliverables and transition the project to the next phase. Okay. So the tools and techniques, there are various analytical skills can be used to check the performance of the project, how the project is performed. So you may use some regression analysis. Other tools can also be used. Basically, idea is to use some analytical techniques, which we talk about in the last section also. You arrange several meetings for closeout, for documenting lesson learned. The main thing is that you must document lesson learned. In fact, in the closer, it is not documenting lesson learned. Whenever you see a variance in the project, it's an opportunity to document lesson learned, irrespective of in which phase you are. So you have a variance, you are taking corrective measures, document what caused these things to go this way and how we can prevent in future. And in the closer part, when we are closing the project, at that time we should consolidate all such lesson learned and make a final document, which will help us to execute the next project better or help our peers or other project managers to execute their projects better. They learn from us. So transition of the final product, service, result to next phase in case of project phase closure, or the production operation in case of the project closure. So normally what updates to the project organization process assets come here is that project file get added to the historical information. So all the documents which are part of the project, they become part of the project, the organizational historical information. The formal closure document, the transfer of the deliverables to the next phase or the operation, and the lesson learned get added to our knowledge base. This completes our integration. What I will do, I just show you a project management, a sample project management plan. Which is how we should prepare a project management plan and what are the important things in that. So if you see, I will just take you through the table of contents. So it talks about the phases in the project. It talks about the resources required in the project, the resource management plan. It also talks about hardware and software required in the project, again part of the resource management plan. If there is any training needs required, again part of the resource management plan. The main project management plan, we talk about communication plan, data management plan, how we going to measure the progress on and monitor the control the projects, all the deliverables on the project, is the customer training required, risk management. Now how we going to manage the risk on the project, how we going to identify them, how we going to take actions if any risk is materializing, the standard and convention going to be used on this project. The quality plan is also there. The matrix is defined, what matrix we are going to measure, how we going to do verification and validation, how we can prevent defect on the project, the acceptance criteria of the project, the testing plan, that is the quality control plan, the configuration management plan. So the various project management subsidiary plans are part of the project management plan. Now every project management plan is a different. So not necessarily all the management plans are mandatorily there, but whatever we are producing, they should be part of the project management plan. So if you see here, the most important thing which we normally skip, assumptions and dependence. So assumptions are very important, and whenever we do some planning, we bound to assume something because we don't have complete information, especially in the beginning. At that time, we should document all those assumptions. When you identify risk, assumption analysis is one of the things. Do you have template to share for an hardware software implementation project? Similar template can be used, though it is mainly a software template. But hardware, software, both are a part of the project, then it can also be used for that purpose. It shouldn't be very different. So all the releases, all the deliverables are defined. All the resources are defined basically. This is a resource phases, okay. what are the various phases on the project, the people required, who is required, architect, developers, technical leads, project managers. For each and every phase, their dates are also mentioned. So depending upon how comfortable you are, you can mention all these things. But because the dates are changing, they often change frequently. So we should be a little careful on this, that if we can have such kind of thing which is easy to update. Because these things initially you need, because based on that your recruitment department is going to work. Hardware and software required for this project. If you need to procure them, you need to mention that. So you need to, once you have identified this, you need to go and see that what organization already have and what you need. So baseline plan, that is the basically schedule. So it's referring that, okay, look at the project schedule. Communication plan is again referring to a communication plan document. There are various deliverables of the project, when they will be delivered, who is the approving authority. Then the risk management plan, how the risk will be identified, how they will be managed. It also defines that how the version of the software will be specified. Seems to be an exhaustive plan. Is it possible to share this plan to participants? This could give us pointer to work on plan. Oh, I think I will going to show some more templates. Maybe I don't mind sharing them. So at the end of the workshop, I will send you a bunch of documents then. Quality plan. It also defines what is called a high defect. It's called medium defect or low defect. Verification, validation, that how the things will be reviewed or tested. Who will review the documents? What document? What tools will be used to maintain the defects? The acceptance criteria is also mentioned. It's showing, okay, no showstopper, no less medium category defect. I think something is missing here. 30 or less minor defects. So based on that, the customer will accept it, though you need to fix all of them, but customer cannot deny the acceptance. So various type of testing going to happen in this project. The configuration item, what are the various items which will be configured? How configuration management will be done. It also defines that how, if document is to be named, organization ID, then client ID, then document name, then document type, and then it is name. Project actually, and then document type, and then document name. This is a change control process they have defined. So change can be requested by vendor, can be requested by client. Both will go to the vendor. Vendor will estimate efforts and impact on the efforts and schedule, and report it to the, in this case, change control board is client basically. Effort and schedule PCR submit to the client. client analyze and either approve or reject. If it approves, then to execute change request and deliver the change. Very simple change management plan. Right? Okay, any question?
Hi Vivek, I've got some questions going back to the project integration management slides that you take us through.
Mm-hmm.
Well, this is from the examination point of view I'm asking.
Uh-huh.
You know, the analysis techniques that you mentioned, like the variance analysis or regression analysis, trend analysis,
Mm-hmm.
do we have to go deep into these analysis techniques for us to attempt these
In
questions?
integration management, not. In the quality when we go, we'll talk about some of these techniques.
Fine. And
Normally we
one more
would
question,
go into details of these techniques. We should know,
okay, because
in the quality also we will know the purpose of these analysis. Like regression analysis. Regression analysis is normally used to derive some relationship between the two parameters. Like you have projects in your organization, you want to see that depending upon the size of the project, how much efforts are normally required. So you take projects of 6-month project, you take 1 year project, you take 3 months project, you take 2 years project, you take all different type of projects which have different efforts, and then you try to put all these things together. All this on one side of the graph we take size, on one side we take efforts, and we try to map all these projects on this graph. Right, let me show you a little bit on this. See, suppose there's a graph here, right? This is efforts, and this is size. So you have various projects. Some project come here, some project come here, some project come here, some. So like several projects you execute, and it goes like that. But if you see the trend, some out of the trend, some point, if you leave them or forget them, then you will see that you can sketch a line like this. Correct? Now in this proves that as the size increases, the efforts are not linearly increasing, but comparing to the size, the efforts are increasing in much more. The increase in the effort is a little exponential as such. So you have you will come out with, if this is S and this is E, then you will come out with some, that S is equal to this function of some E. And based on this, if a new projects come and you look at or it's the opposite way, because we normally calculate efforts. Effort is equal to a function of size. And I know the size of the project, of the new project, I can guess efforts based on this formula. This is called regression analysis. So some kind of understanding is required But normally in the PM box, just know the purpose of the tool. They will never ask you some
Because
question which will ask you to do some regression analysis on some data.
all right. Thanks. Vivek.
So if there are no more questions, I will just show you that how to access this virtual learning center. Okay, so this document I have already sent to you. I'll just walk you through this. So when you click on this link, you will go to place site and which will give you this screen. Put your username, password, login. You will get this as the front page. Your quizzes are listed here. So if there is a second quiz, it will be listed below this. Then the third below this, fourth below this. So you will get a list of this. You need not to go anywhere to find where the quizzes are. You just have to click on it. You will go to the next page. You click on this attempt quiz now. Just giving an attempt that you might be, if you have by mistake click that link. When you click on this, it will just make sure that just asking for the confirmation. You want to start it? Once it is started, you will be given one question on one screen. And you have all the questions number mentioned here. You want to jump to question number 25, you click here and you will come and the question number 25 will be displayed here. So you can freely move in any questions. There is a flag the question, so you can flag also. If you go sequentially after 30th, you will go to the final screen. Or if you are going randomly, you can click on final attempt or final screen and you can go to the final review screen. Final review screen looks like that. So if there are 30 questions, it will list all the 30 questions one after another. The flag marked like this. Here you can see that they are flag marked. You can return to attempt. You can click on any of the question, go there. Like suppose 26 you have marked, though you have answered, but you have also flagged it. You click on 26, go there. See if you want to change it. 27th you have not answered. Click on 27, go and answer it. Come back. Once you click on the submit, it will just ask you for the confirmation and will present you this screen. Okay, so it will give you all the like what some feedback or some how much marks you have got out of 30. A grade is normally from percentile, we normally say, right? Out of 10, what it will be called. Okay, then you can go one by one and see the answers of the questions. You could go randomly, or you can also click on this, show all the questions on one page. So it will list all the questions on the page and you can go through their answers and see their responses. And see that if you are able to understand through the explanation that whatever your understanding is now correct or not. If you are doubtful, note down that. If you are clear about things, or you are doubtful but you still mark the right answer, I suggest you to also note down those things, because doubt has to go away. Just answering right is a right guess is not the right thing at this stage, because when we are learning, maybe in the final exam everything is right. Okay, I think it will be fairly simple to access these questions, but if you face any problem, let me know.
You're going to send us a link, the password and
I have already sent.
okay. It was sent earlier or
It was sent an hour before this, when we, like maybe around 6 o'clock or 5:30.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Just check if you have not got it. Send me. Send me a mail. I will.
No, I haven't checked my mail after that.
Yeah.
Thank
No
you.
issues.
Thank you.
Just check this. This guide is there. There are 2 mails you have received. One mail has your user ID, username, password, and another mail contains this guide.
Also, do we have access to this PPT?
Do you
Have access to this PPT you're presenting right now?
presentation? You have the this handouts, right? Did you download the handouts?
I haven't downloaded, but because I have checked and there was the difference, so I thought like PPT is there, PPT is there.
PPT will, PPT are not sure, but the handouts contain PPT only.
Okay.
Just download the handouts. It contains all the PPT project, all the slides which I am showing you. So I'm done for today. Please, if you have any question, I will be happy to answer.
Vivek, I have one question.
Yeah.
Now, when we were referring to the project baselines, do they mean the objectives of the project or the communication plan, data plan?
Project performance baseline normally comprising of scope baseline, schedule baseline, and cost baseline. They all together called as project performance baseline.
Right. Thanks.
Vivek, I've been listening to the
where do you
things
find-
you told, and
Sorry, say it again. Rajesh, you were saying something?
Vivek? Yeah. Where do you find those recorded sessions, whatever we have completed?
We will upload it and send you the links. For that, actually, good you asked this. I need Gmail IDs of your of all of you, because in the YouTube only Gmail ID works. So we're going to upload them and we'll share with you. So please send me your Gmail IDs. If you have provided Gmail ID as a part of your in the registration form or during registration, that is fine. If you have not, just send me your Gmail ID as well.
Okay, I'll do that. Thank you.
Vivek, this is Sai. I have a question regarding the change control. So I've been listening to what you were talking about there, and I think the same is applicable to emergency change controls.
What do you mean by emergency change control?
Sometimes we need to have emergency changes in the environment. So we do basically the same process. So I'm wondering, all of you were talking about the change controls is applicable to the emergency change controls too.
If you ask me, it's applicable to everyone.
I think it's comparing
But
the
in some cases, you may take exceptions. Exceptions normally to be approved by someone. And when you
mostly
take
by the
exception,
customer.
you ensure that you document them in the change control later. Not today, but tomorrow, but not day after tomorrow. Okay, so you have to follow the change management process. In some cases, you make the changes and then go through it, which is not a very good ideal way. But if it is a matter of life and death, then do it, because living is more important than change.
Yes, sometimes we ask to take a screenshot before and after. And so.
But let me tell you, many times the changes or the urgent changes which are reported, they are normally, most of them are not urgent. That person thinks it is urgent, but most of them are not.
Yeah, I agree. But sometimes there are cases where we have to do it on the fly. For example, during a migration, things are not working, and you can open a case with the vendor, and they recommend something, and that times we need to have a emergency change control. So we have to do it.
Possible. I am not saying it's not possible. Possible, but you see that it should not be frequent. It's a rare to rare scenario. It is in our favor only. More we have a tab on the project, on the changes, more we control the changes, better we are. Better we deliver a better product and will keep the customer happy.
Absolutely.
I think, I think what Sai is referring is this particular term is in ITIL. You're talking about technical terms, right, Sai?
Sorry, I didn't get you. Your voice was so. Yeah.
I said you are talking about technical things, technical.
Yeah.
That is now what you are referring is these things are given. This emergency changes in ITIL. This thing refers ITIL framework, and what we are studying here is a project management framework. So the terms are similar, but then the contexts are totally different. So that is the reason I think in project management we do not get this thing, emergency change management.
But Rishikesh, Rishikesh,
I think
let me explain that ITIL is also a project management.
But then then in that case there is emergency change. There is a specific guideline for this. What Sai is referring. But
See,
here,
the thing is that it is not about, it is about handling the changes. Now they have specified a process how to handle emergency changes. That is fine. If you have defined a process for handling a change and you use that process, which is absolutely fine.
I think basically it means that under these emergency, you are the sole, at your sole discretion you decide. That's all. That's the process again. Under those emergency conditions, you may just speak to some senior person and say that this is emergency. I need that itself may be defined in the process, which says that under these conditions, this is the process which needs to be followed.
Right. So if you have set up a process and that is what you are following, that is absolutely fine.
in that case, when as you mentioned, that needs approval of some senior person, it will be CCB of single person, and that approval will be valid.
Anything could be processed. You have to define it. And it should be acceptable to the people. Means the senior person or whoever is approving it.
Someone says at the end of it that why you did it, then it is not a process.
Yeah, we do have a process here. It depends on the customer to customer. Yeah, we have a process. We have to open emergency change control, and there will be somebody from the client or the customer end to approve it. Yeah, as Vivek told you, there is a
So
process.
which is fine, absolutely. You are actually following the change management process. Only thing is that there is another flow for emergency changes, which is okay. Okay. So, is there any question? I will, let me see.
Hi Vivek.
Okay. I was just trying to read something which I couldn't read.
Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
Okay.
Sorry guys. It was from Kishore, I believe.
Right, right. He's enjoying the life.
Actually, Vivek, Kishore and myself, we were actually discussing in the private chat regarding forming a study group within the group members.
Okay.
So that we can have even out of the class hours, if you have any questions or discussions,
Okay.
that would help us to prepare well for the exam. So this is a request to all the group members. If they are all interested, we can all form a study group and.
Sure. I see that if I can facilitate.
Yeah, fine. Okay, Vivek, thanks.
Whatever.
Oh, wait.
Okay. So thank you very much. See you next Friday. Till the time, there are two, when you log into the virtual learning center, the two quizzes are already enabled. Please go and attempt them. Note down your issues, doubts, problems, or the challenges, and then we can discuss this when we meet next Friday morning or evening, whatsoever it is. Thank you very much.
Vivek, sorry, one thing. So we are not meeting during the weekdays?
No, we are not meeting. We will meet on Friday.
Only on Friday, okay.
Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Only 3 days we meet for 2 hours.
So Vivek, the plan for Monday, so the session is open, or how that works? There is something in the schedule for Mondays.
No, it's Monday to Thursday. You can go on Virtual Learning Center and attempt those questions. You are free anytime you go there and attempt.
Oh, I see. So it's you are putting us into the habit to follow it up on Monday on ourselves to go in there.
Right, right.
I see. I got it. All right. It's not we are all meeting online.
No, we're not meeting.
Ourselves, we are doing the online questions. Okay,
Right.
I got it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks, Vivek. Thanks, everyone.
Okay. Sure. Thanks to all.
Yeah, thanks. Have a good week.
Thank you all.
Okay.
Bye.
Have a good week.
Thanks, Vivek.
Yeah.